All right, so look, last week we talked about the correctional officers who beat up the inmate, um, and it come to find out they did it before. So
All of them, or at least a couple,
couple of them.
Oh, wow!
Guys who beat Robert Brooks were accused of assaulting inmates before, says the New York Times. So this is information the New York Times received and then published. But then it came out a few days later that New York Attorney General claimed she needed to recuse her office to avoid any potential conflict. So in the moment, I was like, that's just an scapegoat, like not to take responsibility of, or not to be associated with anything that happened inside the prison system. And then I thought about today when I kind of was bruising, like reading over the story, that it do make sense to have an attorney general from the outside of the state to investigate it. That way, whatever the outcome is, she still takes away the plausibility because she didn't make no decisions. But then I was thinking about too earlier, as we've seen a couple police brutality type videos come into public over the last few years. And my question was, do you think if one out of the 14 that possibly didn't want to do those things had spoke up and said, man, don't do this, would they have stopped?
They'd beat his ass too.
And then that's what I was thinking about.
That's sad to say, but if they wouldn't have done anything to the officer, they would have probably tried to frame him for something. You get what I'm saying? So that he has no choice but to get on board. Because they going to hold something over his head type shit. Because, they all supposed to be, the boys in blue is supposed to be basically a gang. Just police officers.
But I was thinking,
they protect each other.
I only thought this. I was like, even if should you be influenced by other people? Like, when you take jobs like that, it's like your responsibility to make sure you stand up for what's right.
Correct.
And I'm sure in the beginning,
it's very few in between that do. And it's sad to say that a lot of people don't stand on their own 10 toes, but they don't want to be looked at like an outcast, because you're going to need that person basically to protect you in their field.
My thing, what I also was thinking is, why should you ever feel like if I speak up and say, yo, why are we doing this, you going to get beat up or something bad's going to happen to you?
Because people childish. And people do stuff, sometimes people get so comfortable in a position and stuff that they need some type of thrill or something to get through their day. Not to say that what they do is right, but it's just like, I don't know, they get off on it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you do this because what you wear around your waist. You get what I'm saying? But if you did not have that, would you be doing this? Would you even have the guts to do this?
And look, I think back to like situations in my upbringing. I'm always glad when I think about that I was a stand-up guy, and like no matter how I feel about how my upbringing was my upbringing was, I think in every situation I got myself into that probably wouldn't display the best. God, what's the word I want to use when you looking to be like the guy, the honest guy. I can't think of it right now.
Honest guy.
Well, I'm glad I was always the honest guy, because there's been many situations where I've been in a situation and I knew we outnumbered the person probably 10-1. And instead of me jumping in and doing something stupid like the rest of them, always just back and maybe giggled a little bit. But am I wrong for not just saying, hey, man, why are we doing this? Because I didn't jump in.
I mean, what stopped you from saying it?
It wasn't gonna stop.
Maybe.
So it was going. The thing is, it was going to happen whether you wanted it to happen or not. And you could be the dude that can handle yourself, and ain't nobody about to say or do anything, and you still say what you say, and they don't take what you say, and they still do it. That's a tough situation all the way around. And I know they tell people to be honest. They tell people a lot of times to be honest in that field and report things, and your reporting is anonymous, and we won't reveal your identity. Anonymous. Honestly, in those type of situations,
anonymous.
Because what's going to end up happening, they already know it was 10 of us there.
I know somebody acting
out of the 10.
That's such handwriting. Oh, that's yep. Mm-hmm.
Because I know for a fact, they didn't want that. Those 14 officers or the OCs or whatever, they didn't want that video to get out. So who was the person who probably was scared to say something, who probably been reporting it as the person that they're not going to reveal their identity? Who was the person that actually out of the 14 decided to say, "Oh, I'm gonna activate my my camera, my body camera, but no audio." But there's evidence to prove what I've been saying is going on, and he's still gonna get grouped into that because he probably was one of the 14.
Yep.
It's tough all the way around. I don't mean to.
Yep.
I don't mean to like spend so much time on this, but like I've been in this field for a while and I've seen these situations, and no matter what you do, like sometimes if the people at the top not willing to create a positive, sometimes if the people at the top aren't the ones who's setting the positive role model of what it should look like to be a correctional officer, then you going to be just what your leader is. Mm-hmm. I mean, your leader sets the standard.
Yep. You're a representation of them. Like, if you were to have to be off or whatever, and they put somebody in place, y'all know what to do. Y'all don't know what to do.
That mean
y'all like some badass kids. When your parents say, "Okay, now don't do this. I'll be back."
So that's why now to end this and to conclude this, that's why I agree with her.
Having an outsider.
Having an outside. That way, that outside person don't got no relationships
unbiased.
with nobody, and unbiased. And I mean, a video alone should kind of tell you enough. But who knows? They find hole in.
How many situations was it that the cameras was cut off in the midst of a situation? Now they gotta go through all that.
Yeah.